Hi, let's take a few minutes to talk about the most important thing in your life, which is how to save your marriage. I think this video is going to be about 10 minutes long or so, and so if you want to pause it now and go grab a cup of coffee and come back, I'll be here. If you don't know me yet, my name is Dr. Max Vogt, and I've already helped thousands of people have great marriages over the last 27 years in my practice, in my books and videos and seminars, and now it's your turn. I want to make this very simple. It's just you and me here. I decided not to go to a professional studio to make this video. I'm just sitting here in my office talking with you. I'm going to give you some straight answers as a seasoned marriage counselor and as your friend. I can show you how to save your marriage, and if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to have a far better chance at it. And if you don't, you'll probably fail. I feel like since we're sitting here together, you won't mind if I speak frankly and openly to you like that. So let's get on with it. I've got 6 ideas which I promise are going to help you have a better marriage right away if you try them. So here's the first one. I call it the if only. So you know what I'm talking about. It's if only my husband, my wife would not nag at me, would give me my space, or would remember my birthday, or would help in the house, or if only, if only, if only, if only, if only. Now, this is something you got to stop saying. You got to stop saying if only. Why? It creates a sense in your mind that you're missing something, that you're being betrayed, that you're being hurt, and creates a perpetual sense of loss. Okay? So I want you to start looking for things that you will say, I'm going to. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a different arrangement in terms of the housework. I'm going to take care of myself if my husband forgets my birthday. I'm going to. Change if only into I'm going to. What this does, it gives you the power to take an action rather than waiting for your spouse to take an action that you'd like them to do. Okay, here's the second one. Marriage is friendship. A lot of people forget this. They think it's a contract or an obligation or something that they're supposed to get something out of that is very different from anything else in life. You know, it's supposed to be some sort of magical experience. Well, I mean, are you that tough on your friends? You're probably much more forgiving and easygoing with your friends than you are with your spouse. Think about this. If this is your friend, not your spouse, not the one you have contractual obligations with and financial obligations, but as a friend, how would you be different with this person? Okay, here's the next one. It's about loyalty. Now, you may think of loyalty in a fairly literal way, which is that, you know, I'm faithful. I haven't had sex with someone else. I'm loyal in that way. I'm faithful. But I want you to think about the kind of loyalty that you really demonstrate. When you're with your friends, do you talk about your spouse behind their back? Do you reveal secrets? Do you talk with them about things that you don't talk with your spouse about? I call it disloyalty. And I can guarantee you that your spouse experiences it as disloyalty when you're having those relationships with someone else behind their back. I'm not talking about sexual relationships. I'm talking about, again, in some ways, about the kind of friendship that you may be diluting with your spouse and having that relationship with someone else. So I call it disloyalty. Okay, here's the next one. It's about in-laws. Your spouse is, their family is something very important to them. And I think very often what I've found in my practice is that people are very sloppy about the way they talk about the their spouse's family and their parents. Imagine how much bind this puts your spouse into. They're trying to work out their own loyalty with their family of origin, with their parents, with their brothers and sisters, with whomever. That's something you should be jointly working on, not something that they feel alone in doing. So that's about the in-laws. These are just brief pieces of help for you in looking at your marriage and saving your marriage. Really important. These are just brief pieces of the whole picture, though. Next one, I call it the 100% rule. Now, having been a therapist for a long time, I don't think I've ever heard someone say when they come into therapy, well, I realize this is 50% my fault. I mean, people always say that. But they rarely mean it. So there's a formula I've developed, which is that rather than saying I'm 50% responsible for, the failures or problems, also the successes in this marriage, that when it comes to problems or faults or issues, that rather than saying I'm 50% responsible, try saying I'm 100% responsible. See what that means in terms of actions that you might deliver on. Now, I always divide by 50% anyway. So if you're thinking of yourself as 100% responsible rather than 50% responsible, this will change the nature of the behaviors that you do. Because if you're that responsible, then some changes in your behavior should make a big difference. Now, I'm kind of cheating there, because if you say you're taking 100% responsibility, I know you're not going to take 100% responsibility. I'm not expecting that really, but it's a way of thinking about it differently than the 50% responsibility, because, see, if you divide that by half, you're talking about 25% responsibility, and then you're not going to be effective at all. Okay, and here's the last one we're going to talk about right now, is the dance of togetherness and distance. I call it the dance of togetherness and distance. Now, every couple has an amount of togetherness and an amount of distance that they work out over time. For each person in the relationship, a certain amount of togetherness or distance feels right. And a lot of the conflict that comes up in couples has to do with this dance of togetherness and distance. Frequently, one person will feel like there's too much distance. Another one will feel like there's too much togetherness. And what I'd like you to actually try is thinking of this as a dance, thinking of this as a way of being together that you can talk about, whether this kind of, and recognize the individuality of each person. I'm not going to have a lot of time today to talk about individuality, but I talk about it along the course. The amount of togetherness. Look at your family of origin. Look at your friendships. Look at the way each of you handles a lot of togetherness and a lot of distance. And see if you can work out a way that really works for both of you in this dance. Okay, there are 6 ideas for you. I hope these ideas have helped you get some simple, clear, and practical ideas on how to have a better marriage, starting right away. Go back and play this video again if you like. There's some real solid gems in here, and in order to keep this video to a practical amount of time, I've mentioned these. You can certainly find out more in the complete 10 Days to a Better Marriage System. And I thank you for your kind attention and for your desire and devotion to having a better marriage. It's the greatest thing on earth. So no matter what you decide to do, whether to get the course or the system or not, I certainly wish you well in your marriage, and hope to talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.